Greetings ladies and gentlemen, with the last Wonder Woman movie and Shazam, it seemed like DC was on a path to success, but that sadly went downhill with their latest release of Wonder Woman 1984. It definitely had the elements needed to be successful, having great abilities, being one of the few badass female heroes on screen, and a huge following, but I think we can all agree that it missed the mark. In this video, we're going to be doing a movie analysis of what went wrong, so now let's get started. I believe that a good movie starts with the development of the main character, and the first Wonder Woman movie accomplished this very well. She learned about her own ignorance about the current world, the nature of humanity, and her own identity. These themes were deep, interesting, and were only emphasized through the setting of a world war. However, in Wonder Woman 1984, the arc was mostly about her inability to move on from Steve, which I think we can already start to see the problem with this. For one, it's definitely a major downgrade from the previous themes she went through of humanity and ignorance. Although the loss of a character can definitely feel impactful, such as Tony Stark from Marvel, it fails to achieve the same impact. A few reasons why is because it lacked believability. First being that she was raised as a warrior that was not only ready to sacrifice her life but also say goodbye to her cherished comrades which she has known for centuries. Also, neither Diana nor the audience has seen enough of Steve to feel the emotional impact that they were trying to portray Diana feeling. It's definitely hard to believe these feelings when they had maybe a 1-month relationship. Steve himself says that it's crazy she hasn't cared for anyone after him. This craziness is only further emphasized by the fact that this character is meant to symbolize the independence and strength of women. But her inability to move on from Steve is clearly the opposite of that. One of the best things that draws me into a superhero movie is that expectation of great fight scenes. The first Wonder Woman movie definitely nailed in developing the combat atmosphere, drama, and some pretty badass moments. I mean, fighting against a wave of soldiers is always going to be an awesome spectacle no matter how you do it. Unfortunately, the scenes in this movie just failed to reach the same level. There were 3 main fight scenes in the movie, plus the short one in the beginning, and they just weren't that interesting. To start, when fighting the grunts, it was slow and lacked impact. When compared to other DC films, the Superman movies accomplished great fight scenes through visual spectacles that demonstrated high feats of power, while the Batman movies used creative combat and made the audience feel every punch and broken bone. The poor fights may be partly due to Diana losing her abilities, which obviously creates a writing dilemma, where you need to make the fights interesting but also demonstrate her struggle to defeat normal enemies, causing fights to be drawn out. Another reason for the poor combat rating was the fact that the main villain was impossible to defeat. How would a person defeat someone who can literally wish for anything? So Diana defeats him by giving him a 5-minute speech that just seems anticlimactic. This guy has caused the death of who knows how many people and destruction all over the world, come on. And Cheetah, which we were all expecting to have an epic fight scene, was a little strange in my opinion. Did anyone else think that the blue lighting was a little weird? It just happened so subtly that I was thinking about that more than the actual fight. Also, almost the entire fight was Diana and Cheetah swinging on her lasso and electric cables. Honestly, who thought that was a good idea? Bad characters. Before the bad, I honestly loved Steve. I would have preferred they didn't bring him back, at least the way they did, but the comedy that he brought was refreshing. Compared to the emotional misery of Cheetah, Diana, and the antagonist, Steve definitely helped the movie avoid being too serious, which is a common issue for DC films these days. Sadly, he was the only side character that I liked. The main villain was the worst character I have seen in a while. His motives and backstory were just not interesting in the least. He just wanted money to prove to others that he wasn't a failure. Then instead of wishing for money, which is the thing he wanted, he wishes to be the stone and gets obsessed in granting wishes. A good villain in my opinion is someone who has an interesting personality, development, and is understandable to a certain degree, but this movie fails to achieve any of those traits. Good villains would be characters such as Thanos or Killmonger who had interesting motives and a deep backstory. Finally, Cheetah was the cliche hot chick that the audience was supposed to believe was ugly because she was wearing glasses and had a bad fashion sense. If the writers wanted me to feel bad for her, it just didn't work. Also, her origin was lame. As Diana comes from a mythical background filled with gods and heroes, I would assume her villains would follow the same theme and have an interesting origin, like being a failed hero, cursed by the gods or something like that. Coming from a wish stone is definitely not it. Finally, this movie is just a major lore breaker to the DC universe. I knew they said they were going to prioritize their individual films, but they really weren't kidding. This movie pretty much breaks the history that was stated in other movies stating that she hid herself after the war. I feel like saving kids in malls, entering the White House and fighting waves of soldiers isn't staying hidden. Honestly, forget about Batman because I feel like a kid could find Wonder Woman using a Google search. Also, I'm confused how this major event wouldn't leave a lasting impact to world history. It pretty much confirms that magic exists to everyone and likely caused lasting damage to the world, but they'll probably swipe that under the rug. Thank you guys for watching this short analysis of Wonder Woman 1984. If you guys have any comments, write them down below, and if you like the video, subscribe for more.